They're going to have to hear you.
They can hear me. Yeah.
The only thing to be mindful of is since everybody's running a laptop and it's off center, be mindful of where you're looking in the room. You know what I'm saying? If you get off axis from that thing.
I know the shit's gonna hit the fan. Fucking cats and dogs living together. It's gonna be fucking crazy. I'm with you, brother.
Peace.
All right. Yeah, it's not a slide. I just think it's a funny picture. That's real. Like I took it with my camera phone reel, and I sat in front of it for a pretty long time, just being like, yeah, it's pretty much what we have. That is sort of what it is. All right, so yeah, how's that? We got slide stuff. Hey, does it go back? It goes back too. I can't believe I'm actually gonna give this talk. That's shit, dude. Whatever. Hi. Hi. Yay. Back to our good old AA meetings. So I have to do disclaimers because our lawyers tell us to. But not in the way that everybody else does, where they're like, it's not my company's opinion, it's just mine, so, you know, don't worry. My company won't treat you like that, it'll just be me. No, my company will definitely treat you exactly the way that I treat you or anyone else does, and that's just how it is. So I woke up really early to try and give this talk. Thank you, dude. I ended up not really sleeping well, as you can see, to give this stupid PowerPoint thing, right? God, that's so much better. All right, so just to, you know, give this kind of silly PowerPoint stuff, and my disclaimer to you guys is that, you know, by all means, I'm gonna swear. I am. I understand if that's not your flavor. I am cool with that. You be cool with mine, I'm cool with yours. If you want to bounce in the middle of it and like give me the finger, but like be like, F you, buddy. You know, that no problem. I'm gonna drink. Yeah. You got a pretty mouth, boy. We're talking about watching stuff later. I'm gonna have to gay you up. All right, so, God, this is gonna get weird, isn't it? I'm gonna try not to puke. But if I do puke, just, you know, give me a break. Like, just like let me go on or something. You know, I'll muscle through it. I'll just look like shit. I mean, it's not like I look better now, right? And troll me, cool. It's fine to do that if you don't like how I present stuff, or you think I'm full of shit, or I'm just, you know, wasting time sitting here drinking and showing you funny memes. You know, because people always leave, and that's good. So we're all on the same page, yeah? Cool. I'm Chris. That's me in various different formats. For some of you who have seen some of these before or saw me at ThoughtCon, it's still my favorite talk that I've ever given, even though I had to follow Drunk Raph, which I guess that's not appropriate to say or something because he got all mad about that. But yeah, I put on, you know, 560-pound fat suit so that I could give a talk on NLP and how to pick up women, because I thought it would be really funny to do it from the stance of a like 500-pound fat dude. It worked out funny. My credentials. Okay, sweet. That's how. I really don't have a lot of credentials to do anything. I can claim the whole like 303 drinking thing because we're at altitude and you guys aren't, you know, so I'm more than happy to be like, yes, I can drink with you. That's about it. I mean, I don't want to push the boundaries. Even then, I'm probably not going to work out because I'm really tired. That's my bio, something. because everybody has to do the like tell you about them thing. So that's the tell you about me. I'm not a good hacker. I tell lies pretty much all the time, but I do get paid for it. I say bad words. People say bad words to me. I can't code for shit. I mean, Eric and Chris can tell you that. I've done pen testing and security stuff for a pretty long time. And you know, I've helped create a couple different pen test things like P-Test, and worked with a bunch of you guys who are here, because obviously you wouldn't be here otherwise, because there's no reason to sit in a tent unless you already know me. Yeah, worked for big security companies doing security-y stuff like all of us do, right? That's my amazing bio. I don't be too shocked yet. So I totally love my job. Like, I really, really, truly love my job. And I have to make slides and shit about that because it's so rare that people love their job. But I love it. Like, I am more than willing to trade absolutely anything in my life to spend a day at work. So much so that I made a graphic about it. Because I think people really have to get that they're, you know, if you're gonna love your job, you gotta get in there and really enjoy it, right? So, what the fuck am I talking about anyway? Yay, content. It's not just stupid slides. So I decided I would give a talk about surveillance stuff, because I don't know why, but we're all like real concerned about this, like the hip, cool computer things. And then we say dumb shit in public, you get busted. Yeah. The ones that aren't nodding are in jail. Because we get so focused in on these little electronic things that we forget that, like, the old school method of, you know, to get a password, dragging somebody outside and beating the hell out of them until you get what you want, or, you know, listening to them because you get them all plowed in a bar and they're talking to somebody else and telling them like, oh man, I'm Sabu, what's up? You know, like, ha ha ha. Yeah, it's funny. But also because I think we forget to do it when we're doing testing. You know, like, we're telling companies that they're doing things well and that their security program is really good, yet we're not doing anything to test how information flows outside of these silly little boxes that have wires in them. I think that's a bit short-sighted, seeing how the other method's been around for a really, really long time, and now we're just kind of screwing with them and being like, yo, I can take all your info just by clicking this little button because I had this little shield with an M on it. And they're like, that's awesome. And you're like, you can buy the shield too. And they're like, that's sweet. And by all means, it provides all sorts of value, but it doesn't really run the gambit of testing everything. And if we're being brought in, or if we're in defending organizations trying to explain to them how we're growing our security posture, how we're changing, or whatever else, or if we're on the other side where we're just trying to show them what could be exposed if somebody really, really gave a shit to go after them, I think we need to kind of like open the scope a little bit. Make sense? Yes. Thank you. I love you, Chris. Okay, so we're gonna talk about it from a couple different perspectives. And if these slides suck, I'm sorry. You'll see at some point in this, I'll get all like perky and happy, because I got into this stupid thing and ended up spending 5 hours in Excel last night because for some reason it was really awesome. I know it sounds ridiculous. That's like the most ridiculous. And I like wasn't on acid or anything, because I wasn't like, oh man, I can see the numbers and taste the green. But for some reason, it really got me going, and I just didn't sleep. Which is why this is a little discombobulated. So corporate surveillance, right? People have this, you know, everybody's talking about OSINT again, which is awesome, right? So I'll be part of the throwback crowd, and we'll talk more about OSINT and intelligence. I just want to talk about watching stuff. I mean, I don't even need to call it anything fancy. You know, I don't need acronyms or crazy tools or anything like that. Like, I can just ask somebody once a week what's going on at the company, and they'll tell me, and then I'll know, and then that information will get out, and I don't have to do the like stay up all night fuzzing something so that I could get some weird error and be really, really pissed that my tool broke, and then, you know, call somebody else who's better at coding so that I can then, you know, feel bad about myself. I can just be like, yo, I already know stuff. I just went and asked the dude, and he was like, here's what's going on. So we need to do that, right? We need to be able to watch a company, but we can't watch a whole company. I mean, I can't watch like all of Bank of America, just the pieces that are going to make me money or the ones that will be fun to play with. I hope you guys are in here. I can't see you yet, but I did some fun stuff with you at PNC. You know, here's some of the basic stuff that we really need to get a hold on when we're looking at a company, right? And this isn't always just, you know, your typical OSINT, like go find the network crap that they have so that we can break into it. Some of this is like really process-driven stuff that's never going to touch a computer, that is going to get them 100 times more owned than anyone ever touching any of their software, right? You need to know who their employees are, their partners, you know, knowing who their competitors are, knowing who their adversaries are. I mean, how many of you guys, when you're doing testing, know who the adversaries are of the company you're testing? Hands. There's 3. Okay. 4, 5. I'll say 8 because my vision's all fucked up. It still sounds good. How many people do some type of attacking sometimes? What the hell else do the rest of y'all do? No, I mean, I'm just asking. Well, so you attack, but just in a different way. I know your tricks. Is that why you're making her sit on the ground? That's messed up, dude. I love you, Hans. All right, so no. I mean, like, what other stuff do y'all do? I mean, I'm asking. I'm not just telling you to sit there and silently stare at me weirdly. Anyone? Defense stuff? Cool. Do you think anybody's like looking at these things? Okay, let's try it again. So you're a defender. Do you know who you're fighting and defending against? Whatever what? Whatever Gardner tells you? Oh no, sorry. My bad. I have this hearing, drinking, didn't sleep thing. All right. So we can profile to figure out who adversaries are, right? And figure out who would want to attack us and why they'd want to attack us. And it's like a really easy equation. You know, bank robber, I have a bunch of money. They're bank robbers. Naturally, a bank robber would want to attack me because I have the money and they steal the things. And like, we go together well. Peanut butter and jelly, it's good, right? But financials, I need to know that. If you're in distress as a company, I can do all sorts of neat stuff. I can be like, yo, I'll pump and dump your stock. You know, just give me half of it. Or I'll do some, you know, crazy, shady bank transfer things. And then you guys can claim you went out of business because of a hack, like all the other people who claim that. But they were totally screwed beforehand, and they just needed an out. Right? To be aware of that and effectively defend yourself, it'd be a good idea to know how the person fights, instead of just going, well, I'm going to just get ready universally for some type of fight. And, you know, you get in the fight, you've been training for, you know, every type of crazy MMA and everything else, and the dude just rolls up with a sword and cuts your head off. He's like, sword fight. Ah, I got you, dude. Juggernaut, you know, and just beasts in there and kind of takes over. It would suck. And I think that kind of happens to us a lot, is that we just get completely rolled over because we forget the adversary thing. So I'm really all about trying to make people think about that more. Relationships, you know, people, how you deal with things, where you deal with things is really important, because maybe I'm not gonna, do you guys know the like Wiggy 187 story? The Harold Wigginbottom, who is this like hipster corporate executive who like Twittered and shit all the time. And he was going to somewhere in South America and was like, getting on my plane, yeah, can't wait to get to Colombia, you know, or wherever he was going. And then he was like, oh, forgot my briefcase, got to go back to the house. He's like, just made my flight, you know, landed in CLO in like 9 hours and 44 minutes. And then you see the like next tweet after that is, oh, I love my secretary, she's so funny, you know, had guy waiting for me with sign that said Wiggy 187. And then the next tweet after that was in Spanish. Like, that's awesome. As defenders, you might want to be like, dude, just shut that down for a minute. Just tell them after you're safe and in the hotel, like, I got you. Like, we're good, you can holler at whoever you'd like. Or just lie, like be like an hour off or something. And it's a great thing to tell them, and then the executives love you, and you're like, dude, I saved you from getting kidnapped, a raise would be cool. So it might work out, right? How do you do those things? Do you guys use Hoovers? Have you used Hoovers before? If you're in sales, you use Hoovers because you're like, yeah, they got more money, time to go get it. Like, I don't give a shit if they need this stuff or not. That dude makes $1.169 million a year. He's 63, he's dying soon, he doesn't give a shit about how much he spends. You know, that dude's got 2 paychecks. You know, he's just living on the DL because he doesn't want the chairman to feel bad. So he's like, I just have a $600,000 bonus. You know, but I only make $400 a year. You're the boss. Good job, Tony Danza. But part of these things that are real pertinent financial analysis of the companies is that these sites will tell you who your competition is. So step one of figuring out who the fuck the adversary is that is going to attack you is doing your intelligence on your own company to figure out who your competitors are, because they're, at the very least, they're in the top 10. One of those dudes is going to come at you, or already has, or is owning you, and that's why you're number 2 instead of number 1. Market Visual, also a really amazing site, and all of these will seem a little bit redundant, but they all have very, very distinct data sources that are very different, so you have to look at a lot of them, right? This is also cool if y'all are crooks. Like, by the way, this talk will really apply, because you kind of want to know all these things about the business so you can manipulate it the right way. Market Visual is really neat because it's one of those interactive maps, so you get to do all the fun, like spin the wheel and watch stuff explode, and you know, so if it's late night and you're drunk or stoned or something like that, like, it's fun to do the OSINT because you get to like play with all these neat little shapes. But it does actually quantify and give you some good understandings of what the relationships are. You know, like with that, it looks all colorful, but as you start to dig in, you can see that, well, is this person on the board or is this somebody who's a supporter? And then you get, like last night, you get dug down these damn rabbit holes where you're like, oh, he's on the board and he's listed as a supporter, but he's also on the board of this competitor's company. Like, why is that dude so shady? You know, and then you start looking into it a little bit more and more, and it ends up like Ian and I in a hotel room where we're finding like weird government docs about, you know, some shit named the Sniffix that's a bomb detection utility that's really just like a metal pipe with an antenna on the top of it that somebody like fucked the government over for like $3 million because it was supposed to detect bombs. And, you know, their assessment of the whole thing was like, the Sniffix works no better than random chance. Like, that was like the science behind it. And they still bought like 1,000 of them because they had to, because one dude was on the board with another company that had hedged it and like was part of the funding. Like, I could have told you that shit before they started testing. Right? Like, this is shady and weird because of these connections. Yeah? Muckety? Muckety is another interesting site. So Muckety is actually, it has a little bit more of this kind of crowdsourcing thing that goes on, and there's a couple of them that have more crowdsourcing issues that go on, where they'll get edited from the maps from the other people who are investigating it, which is really interesting to see. Because the people that are doing really, really good intelligence gathering are also trying to throw you off the trail. So if they could edit the map, they want to be like, yeah, so it looks really bad if John is on both the boards. So if I can edit that, I'll just make sure it looks like he's only on one. but then you find it through other tools, and you're like, well, why isn't it the same here? And you look at their data sources, and you figure out who did the edits, and it starts to build the picture of who your extra adversaries are. Little Sis is great. Little Sis is cool because it has, like, there's this really, really strong need in the community of the people that work with this site, that they provide internal data. So it's like the whistleblower site, but that's why they call it Little Sis, right? It's like the, you know, the moral authority, good little sister of yours that's just trying to tell you, you know, not to drink on stage because she loves you, not because you shouldn't, you know? I love that about them, because they also take some pretty hard stances when other sites won't. Is like, this person is definitely on this board and made illegal contributions. And if you put that there and it's there and they can validate the chain of it, they leave it there. And I love that, because you look up any company, including yours right now, and if you're big enough, they're on there and there's already dirt. Like, you already get in the dirt just by looking at that, and you're like, well, I don't know if I want to stay up all night, you know? Okay? LinkedIn, you guys know about that. People give talks on fucking stupid ass LinkedIn forever. Great. You just use it as a data source. Okay? It's getting to be less and less of a good, holy damn. It went purple. I'm gonna do the Chris Gates for you. Look, it's fixed. My foo's so strong now that I can like fuck stuff up and fix it without knowing either side. I'm just oblivious to both of them. Jigsaw, you know, Chris and Eric talked about this a little bit. Again, another great place to understand real good statistical analysis of how big the company is. Because when you're building some of these maps and building some of these profiles, you actually want to use math instead of just blanket assumptions. If you know that there's 5,000 people in the company and the company has an X profit margin and they have Y quarterlies, and you can actually show profitability, then I can say my adversaries can affect me by this percentage. Therefore, every time I see some type of communicative link that leads to my adversaries, it's worth this much money, right? Like, if you could do a personnel profile and say every time someone in our company gets found to be connected to one of our adversaries, it has the potential to cost us this, you would just have the awesome fire button. You would just be like, hey, look, it's this, and it could cost $1 million. Fired. Fuck it. Why? Just, we don't need that shit. Yeah, we make 70 grand a year. Fuck them. You know? He's like, I got a $600,000 bonus. He's like, you're not messing with that. Yeah? Entity Cube? Anybody play with Entity Cube? It's a Microsoft research project. Haters. It's Microsoft. Yeah, and it says Bing. That's even worse. Damn them for having a free and open API that you can do whatever the fuck you want with, and Google making you pay $4 for every 1,000 people that click on it. Yeah, fuck Microsoft. So it's really cool. It started off as one of their research projects in early 2000 when they started looking at social interactive relationships, which will lead to some other stuff we talk about later. But Nickersonind and some of the other things, it starts to make some active maps. And the cool thing about that the Microsoft guys are really good at, that almost all of them are not good at, including the tools that you've heard about a bajillion times. Is that they do disambiguation, meaning that if you have 9 people that are Rob Fuller and I find one that's Rob Fuller Mubix, I can say, oh, that one. And then it changes all of its math and goes, okay, now we're focused in on this one. Is this one him too? and they get stuff that's closer. So you start to kind of take the false positives out of how you're doing that gathering and how they're building the maps together and how they're trying to add trust to certain pieces of relationships. So personal intelligence gathering. So we're at the whole kind of company thing, right? And we can find out who works for the company. Now we need to figure out, all right, well, if we can see kind of what the company is and what it does and how it does it, and if there's some major things that vet out of that, now I need to start looking at the people. And this is, this is really drinking the ocean, especially if there's a company of 60, 70,000 people. You're talking about profiling 70,000 people. There's no easy task about this. So we look for some really basic stuff, right? On the who side, we got to know their names, we got to know their aliases, their emails, their screen names, kind of what their social landscape is, like where do they go play. We need to know what clients they use, how they use those clients, because that's going to come in later when we own them and just laugh at them because we're watching them all the time. Not because we're trying to hurt them, just want to watch. What carriers they use, what physical locations they have, why is really important to us. Why are you talking to this person during work? That is of huge interest to me. Are you talking to them for work? Because if you're talking to them for work, maybe I should be part of that conversation, being the person who wants to attack you. Or if you're just talking personally, but I know you're doing it during work, maybe I need to get more personal with you so that you could talk to me during work. Yeah? And then how, these are just how all of that is going to occur. What tone do they have? How are they saying things? Another kind of silly Bing thing that I didn't throw in is they have a tweet heat map that does natural language analysis that, like if you search for DerbyCon and then click their little app button to do the heat map, it says the tone of the people tweeting about the particular topic, which becomes really important to know if something pisses people in a company off or gets them all excited, because you can leverage that. Okay, so some of you guys may have seen these. Some of the guys that were in my red team class saw a couple of these slides. Who am I? Fred actually said he was updating this map, and I want to see what the rest of it is, because he just does such awesome little maps of these things. But mapping somebody's digital identity is really easy, right? There's really basic sites that most people use. There's the outlier sites that are kind of weird and whatever else. And that's totally where I should have put that slide. But I just didn't even do it. So when you're mapping somebody's identity, you could use their name, you could use their username, you could use aliases of theirs or things that you found out to try and build the profile of all the sites you're on. But also one of the ones that I really, really like doing is because people are all the same. Nobody's a unique special flower. We're all just the same, generic bag of crap. Use the avatar that they use. And then go to Google Images and upload the avatar and have Google tell you where else that avatar exists. Go to TinEye and update it, put it there. And they'll just show you all these other blogs and weird shit that the person participates on. And if it's not part of these generic ones, then that's where you really want to go, because they're in the, wow for BBW, lesbian affiliate, non-action democratic religious fanatics, or some, some real esoteric shit that if you're in that with them, you're best friends forever as soon as you say hello. So what are you doing? There's more of that, because people are all, crazy and narcissistic, and they need to tell everybody what they're doing at all times. So understand that, get those profiles, and then figure out not only who they are, but what are they doing? Okay? Stuff that you want to find out. You want to find those manipulation points, what they have, how they do it. We're not politically correct here. We're watching people that don't know we're watching them, okay? We need to know their race, their religion, their creed. We need to make huge sweeping assumptions about them and how they act. You know, if somebody's kind of racist, they're racist. Like we just put the little racist mark on them, and then we make alerts on that because we can manipulate them later for it. Okay? We need to know stuff about their families. We need to know stuff about their socioeconomic class, because if we can manipulate them, we can manipulate them. Okay? So we make maps, because maps are awesome. How can I have 20 minutes? It's 11:33. I guess I have 50, huh? I'll just go really quick now. I know, it's fun to just sit on that and like have it get funnier. So we're gonna make maps because relationships between people are really important. And if anybody knows porn, they understand how funny that picture is. But like even Google thinks it's so important that you have to put it into text base to understand people's relationships to each other, that you can type any other actress or pseudo actress apparently, their name and Bacon number, and it tells you how close they are to Kevin Bacon and why. Ridiculous, but obviously important if Google does it, because there's science. So tons of people are really trying to figure this stuff out, right? Whether it's a company or a human that's connected, because if it's a company, you can manipulate it one way. If it's a human, you can manipulate it another. So these mapping relationships, right? Like I realized this last night when I was trying to do all my slides after Ian and I had taught 2 classes back to back, and that's my bullshit excuse. But I made 10 slides last night because I got really into the stupid mapping thing, and I lost an entire night because I started to find really, really cool stuff. And I told Dave I wouldn't dox him, so I'm not going to. But man, you find the coolest things once you blow these things out into maps, because it just jumps out at you. It's like there's a billion pieces of data, and then there's one just blank spot over here. And you're like, why is there a blank spot there when everything else looks cool on this side? So, places to do it. You guys know about Maltego, yes? Awesome, not talking about it. Salesforce.com? Yeah? You've used the apps in Salesforce.com that show you the social implication and relationships of who's working together? Yes? If you haven't, it is the most accurate view that you will ever get, because all this shit is insider information. I mean, this is like the boss talking to another boss and somebody overhearing it, because they just mine all your data and steal all your shit anyway, because they're Salesforce and that's how they roll. So use visual relationship mapping. The VRM is my favorite of any of those tools. It's completely free. As soon as you hook it up to your Salesforce account, it just mines the shit out of it, and it's like, here's these and this link. And for salespeople, they love it because it's like, this dude just got an increase in his budget because we saw that because we're their fucking CRM, and they got a new budget for firewalls, and you're a firewall sales dude, so like, go just sell them shit. Amazing what you could do when you know somebody needs something. TouchGraph. So I was playing with TouchGraph for a while last night. Just go put your Facebook account into TouchGraph and play around with the little graph for a little while. You'll find awesome shit. What's that? Of course, because it's Dan. So this is one of my favorite ones. Do you know what's going on with that? So on Facebook, if at the end of Facebook.com you slash and then a username, any, doesn't matter if you're friends with them or not, and then a question mark and equals and any other username, it will not only tell you everybody that they're connected to and who they're friends with, but when they became friends and all this really intimate bullshit about their connection, which to me is the most fucking ridiculous thing if I'm not friends with either of those dudes, that like, I should know any of that. But oh my God, is it useful for owning people. Okay. Thanks, Mark. LinkedIn maps, those are always great. I think it's funny how 303 like took over a bunch of things. So stuff that you want, but remember that there may be stuff out there to do it, but you could roll your own, this is the stupid shit I got into last night that made my presentation go over or under or whatever the hell it'll be. There is the coolest amount of data out there, and you can search GitHub all day to get free API keys. So it's like, it's just boatloads of free data everywhere that you can play with. Okay? This is specifically what wasted all my time last night. Has anyone ever seen this? Ever? Except for you. So you have. Okay. And maybe one other person. I saw some shit moving. Like, how cool would it be if you could take data sets that you had of these people from like Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and you could put them all into something, and it would show you how they all connected. And then you could ask it, hey, which one of these are good connections based on language, based on this, based on all these kind of variables? And they could muddle the map down for you. And then you could go, all right, cool. So which one of these people are like a circle of friends? Like, oh, we all went to Auburn together and we were on the fucking crew team or whatever weird shit that people do. And you get 10. And then you say, out of those 10, are all 10 connected on all 3 social networks? And it's just click, click, click. No. These 2 are not connected on Facebook, but they're connected on LinkedIn and Twitter. I mean, that's the best phishing shit ever. You know that they're friends, you know all this stuff about their relationship, and you know that, like, this person just joined this social network at this time and they're just not happen to be connected to somebody that they really know yet. They're clicking the fuck out of that link. They're gonna be like, it's just so hot. So I was like playing with like last night, I started to run it just looking at anything that was in Twitter based on DerbyCon. That's it, right? I mean, literally all I did was hook it up, say, yes, go pull shit from Twitter using my account, and search for DerbyCon, and it made this relationship map. Like, I typed maybe 15 keys max and clicked shit twice. And I already got this map showing a certain level of collusion, which you can't see on the screen because the middle where it's really dark is actually red. Showing collusion between a group of people that were centering around Dave and then some of the outliers that had no connection to those people, and then mapped that back over Facebook and some other things and saw that those people were like outside of the hipster InfoSec community. So those would be awesome people to go attack, right? If I wanted to get at Dave. All right, so picking targets. It's not, oh, this is the entirety of the X-Men, by the way, mapped out to a distinct relationship pattern. Yeah, I had a boner when I looked at it. I did, I'm not gonna lie. 10 minutes, I'm gonna go over. That's what's up. So like Xavier is in the middle of this thing and he's got like 3 connections. And Wolverine is a pimp because he banged like half the people on the chart. So like maybe Xavier's the boss, but if you want to get a message out and pollute the system there, you go to Wolverine and that dude makes it dirty for everyone. So think about that stuff. Maltego case file, right? Being able to now start drilling down into individual relationships. So now we're going from company to people, now to individuals, right? Anybody play with Stalker? Oh. Again, more ability to go into starting to get individual and defined relationships. Snoopy? Anyone? I'm just gonna give you a whole bunch of shit to go mess with and you're gonna be like, I don't know, I just wasted a month. You know what this is? You know that like Snoopy can make like little botnets and look at all the fun wirelessly stuff and then say, oh, well, because Ian was at this con with me and this con with me and this con, and then I had this one, and then I take all of those together and I see that this SSID or this MAC address was in the air at all 4 of them. Oh, that's Ian, so we should own only that one. Okay, so now that we figured out, I'm just gonna go rip through this. Now that we figured out that we want to go after someone, we got to get weapons. How do we get weapons? Right? We got to now watch people directly. Like, I got to watch you. Right? So we can fish them. You guys have been through all the, like, how do you attack shit, so I don't care. Just go own them. However the hell you want to do it, go own them. That's totally not my problem. Right? But remember that once you get on the inside, you want to own them, not just the company. You don't want to sit in some Apache instance somewhere. You want to like own a badge system because you want to be able to fuck with them and make them not get in the building. You know, because they owe you a favor, or you need to be able to watch them literally because you own the camera system. Right? Own everything, stay there forever. It's your job to watch these people. That, anybody hack badge systems often? Other than you two and Ian? Okay, I see. But the whole fucking this side is, right? But why wouldn't you want to hack a badge system? You can open the door. Like, fuck a firewall. Click the button, open the door, walk in, go boom, plug in, laugh. Like, what are you doing? I'm laughing at you. It's mad funny because I literally opened the door from the internet. Like, I'm fucking Batman. Right? So look at them and watch them. And once you figure out who you want, watch that ass all day. You don't have to literally watch it with your own eyes. Just log it and watch it. Just reconfigure their DVR so it only watches that person every single place that they go. Right? Because I don't care about your DVR system. I have a specific goal. Own all their shit. Not just the company stuff, but them. Right? So, you know, have you used any of these consolidated IM clients? Right? So you have Digsby, which does their, like, oh yeah, we're Ninja, we use encryption, and then somebody figured out, like, hey, you can inject, and it takes 2 seconds. Or anybody use the Lipotech keylogger for Firefox? It's awesome. You just do you figure out whatever keyboard yoga you want to do, and then it prompts you with a password screen. Excellent. So I figure out weird keyboard yoga, I go bloop, password screen, then it just brings up a file, and it's like, psh, it's encrypted everywhere else. You can see it in the browser once you authenticate, and then you get to get your, you know, fucking cheating's wife's passwords. So don't forget obvious shit. Like, just don't forget. Their whole talk was about obvious shit. Just don't forget the obvious shit. Like dot purple and pigeon. It's all plain text passwords. You just take all their shit. I mean, don't tell them, don't log in, just take it and just know that you can log it forever. Search for the word password. You know, KeyPass doesn't always, in the XML file that it stores the keys in, it doesn't always encrypt all of them. And if it does, and if you're root on the box, tell it to stop doing that shit and don't encrypt any of them. It's a fucking configuration change. The person who uses KeyPass doesn't know, they're an idiot. They can't even remember their goddamn passwords. Like, this is not difficult shit. All right, so we want to get up in them and get like weird with it though. So watch them, for real watch them. Right, that's the kind of golden Celestron 80 is what I was carrying around before. Right, it's a 1,000mm optical lens that I bought used. I don't care about your time. I'm just telling you, don't give a shit. That's where I'm at now, dude. I just don't care. So it's a 1,000mm lens that I can take beautiful pictures with and have enhanced digital zoom for $20 to make a T-shoe that screws into the back of it. Now I have a 2,000+ lens for my camera that's only this big. You know I'm gonna take pictures of you all day. All day long. I'm gonna be able to tell you literally how many hairs you have on your nasty parts. Like, because I'll be able to count them because they're fucking this big in my photo. Right? Oh, yeah, that's a rock with a camera in it. It's a fucking rock. No one's gonna be like, oh, that's weird, there's a rock here. I bet it's videotaping me. You know? Right? You guys have seen all this other crap before, poem plugs, all of that, so just put shit everywhere. If it's redundant, great, put more in. Right? And don't be afraid to use hardware keyloggers, because if somebody has like awesome AV or great security policy, or they were like, you know, their kid was some hipster InfoSec person who went to a conference and they're like, I know how to defeat keyloggers, fuck it, just put something else in. Right? Bugging, bug everything you can afford to bug. If you put 10 cell bugs in their apartment, Make sure 5 of them are CDMA and 5 of them are GSM, just in case you fucking lose reception. Right? Give them toys to play with and like beat the crap out of it. And make sure that you can log into it remotely. Making toys. Sometimes you can't afford to buy the toys, so make it. I was gonna do the whole demo thing, but then I lost 4 hours last night to this stupid fucking map. But I used this from, I have one of the slides here. Yep, Lucid Science. It cost me a 1/8" audio cable, 50 cents on a photodiode, $2 on a red laser, and I already had a tripod that I used for one of them, and the other one I used duct tape. And you bounce it off of a window, you get it stable, you make sure that the reflection of what's coming off the window hits the little photodiode that goes into the audio cable that ends up going into an amp of yours that has speakers, and you now have a laser microphone. Gangster shit for like 10 bucks. Like real hardcore FBI stuff. So I have 10 minutes now? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. FM bugs. Look at how small you can make them, right? Now you can amplify the power and make them a little bit bigger, but I could run off of that FM bug with the 9-volt battery, I can run almost 1 week. That's awesome. I can listen to you for a week, and I have my big ass camera lens. Like, I can literally remotely shoot a porn. And like, you wouldn't know. And it would be like POV. You'd be like, dude, you were in the room. I was like, I was all the way down the road. All right. Tracking them in all their shit. Do it. All right? MVC InTouch is one of my favorite companies because it's an ODBC2 that plugs into just about every car on the market. It powers itself from there. You never have to worry about batteries, and it's $200 for 6 months. Okay. Just so I can catch one of the executives going to a hooker, have leverage on him, and get $1 million? Yep, I'll do it. No problem, dude. I got it. I know your wife's email address. I did my profiling. You know, like, I know her lawyer's address. You know, so watch them, and I can give you the, I know I have to leave or whatever, but I can give you these. But you get all sorts of cool information. The other thing is you can actually make like places that they can't break out of without alerting you. That's the part I really like. So you're like, okay, I'm locking you in the house today. And they're like, oh, well, I'm just gonna be home all day doing this. Cool, I'm gonna give you a 10-mile radius of the house. If you go outside of that, it will page me and I will now go live with where the hell you're going. OnStar, I just don't want to get sued, but trust me, OnStar. I mean, just, it's absurd. Like, call them and ask them for a phone log. They won't even ask your name. They'll be like, okay, sure, no problem. Would you like us to let you in the car? Yeah, fuck it, man, let me in the car. You know? Because I'm gonna install a camera in the car. So I just rip off the rear view mirror, I install a camera that has 4 cameras in it and a new rear view mirror. I take the DSP and the DVR and I shove that shit in the trunk or somewhere else, and now I have full motion video all day long. Watching you, waiting you to fuck up again. Every piece of wireless gear that you have on you, I want. Oh man, that comes out suck. Anyway, that just talks about all the different wireless crap. Good cell phone bugging? Okay, if you want to pay for it, pay the $250, get mobile stealth. It'll do everything from reading every single message to batching every single call that you have, SMS, email, blah, 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 blah. It's great for catching people doing whatever there is on their phone because it just exfils everything, right? It's also an awesome GPS tracker, right? And, you know, you can see their text messages and email and all the other needs shit. You got money? Awesome. Go near their house and stand up a new cell phone base station. Yeah. I couldn't get close enough to own you, but don't worry, you'll come to me. Right? Or just do it for free. I love BlackBerry, by the way. I love it. I mean, it's totally a rootkit platform. That's why the government has all the rootkits and shit on it. And I agree. Like, they did a great job. But there's lots of people who have written other stuff to turn it into remote microphones and exfil devices, and it's excellent. It's got an awesome battery life. You just buy one of those for $6, and it's a 12-volt to 5-volt adapter that you hardwire into the car. You then take the BlackBerry apart. You turn the microphone, because the way they soldered it is really, really awesome, because you can tap the other side of the board without having to desolder anything. You tap the other side of the board, you can put a reed switch on it so you can figure out which one that you want, and then you tie it into that fucking annoying-ass OnStar mic. So now I can put the phone anywhere I want in the car, and where do they talk? Directly into my microphone all day. Do I lose bandwidth or power? No. I got an unlimited plan. I don't care. Holla. Call me. Call me 24 hours a day. I'm going to listen to your car. And I know where it's going, and I got full motion video. Again, fully remotely can make a porn in your car. You'll never know. So that's the end of my talk. No. Again.